Hello everyone, welcome to MBA Karo. This video is about the last minute tips for MICAT 2 which is going to be conducted tomorrow morning. And if you have not appeared on the examination before, this video will guide you that what should be the ideal strategy to maximize your score across all sections, how to attempt the descriptive part, how to attempt the psychometric test, etc. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media platforms. Now, the ones who have not appeared on the examination, let me tell you that this is the most difficult MBA entrance examination in India. And this was my scorecard for MyCat 1. Okay, out of, like, you can see that uh, these are not scores of one person. Not all four sections are not for one person. It is just that different people have must have scored different totals. Like, it is not possible for anyone to score these many marks in the examination. So I got a total score of 16, 24, 27.75, and the cutoffs might be around 15 to 18, not more than that, right? It has several other components also involved. What I mean to say is this examination is very intense, and even the best of the people fail to score above 30. Like 30, I guess, hardly, there will be hardly few people who will cross 30 marks in this out of the 70 marks in the aptitude part. Okay, that is considered as a top score. If you're getting somewhere around 15, 20 plus, that's a very good score in this test. Now it is about strategically attempting the test, and we will see that what it entails. How do you go about solving it? So the selection criteria, I'm sure you must have read about it. So there is, you have to write one of these tests: CAT, XAT, GMAT. Now, if you have written CAT or XAT, expect that you will need around 85 plus percentile in these examinations. So if you have lesser percentile, let's say if you have less than 80, then definitely you stand no chance. Not just giving false hopes, but the reality is that most of the students, they are like, it is either early 80s or mid 80s. That is the cutoff. That they do not explicitly mention the cutoffs, but the converts tell you this thing. And plus they have increased the weight of CATs at GMAT. So I guess it is going to be on the upper side of 85. So late 80s, if you have 85 plus, 90 plus, then you stand a good chance, right? In case your percentile is very high, probably an average MyCat would also do. But if your percentile is on the lower side, let us say around 85, you'll have to do exceptionally well on MyCat and the further process as well. Now, there is psychometric test, which is a qualifier. Okay, if you fail the psychometric test, all these scores do not matter. So you need to first qualify the psychometric test. Then the composite score is calculated by cutoff in above exams, which is not clear how much is it. But as I said, that it is anticipated that it is around 85 percentile plus cutoff in the descriptive and aptitude section of MyCat. So that is the combined thing. Then final composite score 35% is these exams, 25% MyCat. So it is still again a significant part. So if you do very well on these two fronts, then you stand a good chance. 10% for GE, 20% for PI, 10, 12 graduation, 5%, 5% for graduation, and like total 5%, 1.75, 1.75, and 1.5. And then you have extracurricular activities. So if you have these things sorted out, 10, 12, so the cutoffs vary based on what profile you have, how much score you have in CATs at GMAT, right? So one should not worry about that. What should be the cutoff score? One should try to maximize the score, right? Try to get as many marks as possible. Why to just look at the cutoff mark? Like, if you score very high, then you have good chance of conversion as well. Now, this is the structure that you have, right? It has a separate three sections. First is psychometric test, which has 150 questions to be answered in 30 minutes. Situation based questions, true false based questions. There is descriptive test, which has four questions to be done and typed. Okay, so a lot of students think that do you have to write? No, you have to type the answers. Four answers in 25 minutes. We will discuss that what are the kind of questions asked. Then aptitude test has 70 questions to be done in 80 minutes. So a total of 224 questions you have to technically attempt, and the total time is 135 minutes. So it's a very grilling examination, intense examination. Like, you have to read a lot. Psychometric test, you have to read 150 questions, think instantly and answer those in 30 minutes. then 4 questions on descriptive you have to type, then 70 questions, and that too not very easy, and they are like more difficult than CATs at level. Okay, so it's a very grilling examination. The ones who have not appeared on it will enjoy the experience tomorrow. Hope you must have appeared on some mocks. If you had taken our mocks, you would get the idea that what kind of questions does it ask, right? So we had mocks on similar lines, the kind of questions you anticipate in MyCat. If you talk about the psychometric test, right? So there is like if you do the maths, 150 questions in 30 minutes. So 5 questions per minute, which translates to about 12 seconds per question. So it means that you have to answer those questions instantly. There is nothing right or wrong in those questions, right? The thing is they test your personality through it, right? And you do not have to be idealistic in those, right? Try to be truthful, right? Let's say if you have certain kind of traits, just be open in those, right? You will try to like there is some cultural fit, right? You do not know what exactly it is, so it is just a guess that it might be that they are testing for the cultural fit, right? How creative you are, how like different personality traits could be tested, which we are not aware of, right? So we cannot comment on how exactly they evaluate you. Okay, so they must be having some cultural traits which they are looking for. So that is tested through it. You try to be honest and authentic in your responses, because whenever there is a psychometric test, they check for some consistency in answers, right? So if the answers feel inconsistent, right, then means that you are likely to be disqualified. Let's say if you say that you want to work in a structured manner, and like say another question is something about like if you are not given proper instructions and in a unstructured way, you are comfortable with it. So these are contradictory statements, and if you answer similarly, that means there's a clash. So your answers need to be as consistent as possible. Now, a lot of people ask the question that if I do not attempt the psychometric test, will I qualify? They say that you have to answer all the questions. You need to answer at least, I would say 80-90%. Let's say 80 is less, I would say 90% plus, right? I would say that at least 90% of the questions. So if you are, even if you are answering 135 plus answers, right, that would give them a decent sample size to determine your personality. Okay, so it is doable. Like 150 questions is very much doable. uh, I have attempted this test. It takes around 20-25 minutes if you read fast. Even if you are a slow reader, try to answer it, because when you start thinking, right, it takes more time to attempt the question. So try to be honest, give whatever comes to your mind instantly. Okay, so don't try to be ideal. So don't try to game the system by giving socially desirable answers, right? That can backfire you. So you need to be truthful. That's what is said about psychometric test. That's how it is cleared. Okay, so obviously only a psychologist can be able to would be able to tell you that how it is exactly clear, because they understand the rationale behind it. However, as a test instructor, I would just say that try to be honest, try to answer questions fast, do not overthink. Okay, don't try to be ideal. Okay, let it be the way you are. If you do not like, they will ask that uh, like I believe science artists are equally good as scientists. So if you do not believe it, just tell that no, scientists are better. Okay, similarly there will be several questions that I like to observe things when I go to different places. If you do not like it, do not mention that way. So try to be honest with your personality. Avoid extreme answers that many people talk about, that I've read about it through different places, right? How psychometric tests are evaluated. Avoid extreme answers unless they genuinely reflect your feelings. Okay, if you are genuinely into that, then only give the extreme answers, otherwise avoid it. Some people try to show them that they are ideal, right? They are very creative or something like that. For that reason, they will answer extremely in those questions. So try to avoid. I'm not saying that you should not answer extremely, but you can. But it's like you need to be honest. Unless you are very supportive of some thing, then only you go ahead with those answers. Okay, so that's how it happens. So there are 117 questions with ordinal options like totally agree, strongly agree, right? Somewhat agree, agree, disagree, somewhat disagree, strongly disagree, totally disagree. So eight options. In that scale, you need to answer. There are 33 questions that are true false types. If we talk about the descriptive test, right? So descriptive test has four questions. There is an essay topic which is given to you, and it typically has like if we talk about this, there are 3 points for, 3 points against, and 3 points on a question related to the topic. Okay, so this time I think there was hierarchy in organizations, that was the topic, and you have to write 3 points for, 3 points against, and 3 points how managers can effectively use hierarchy in their companies. Okay, so that is there. And there is a picture perception test which is completely on creativity, and you need to answer those four questions in 25 minutes. Now I'll give you the context that you have to type these questions, and they say that not more than 300 words. For every question they write, that it should not be more than 300 words. But if you go by the 300 words thing, so it will take 1200 words, which is impossible to type in 25 minutes. Right? So ideally a person could type around 500 words in 25 minutes. Okay, that's that to a fast person who can think fast, write and then type the answers. Right? So that is what I believe one can write. So keep the answers short, right? Try to write within 100 words. Now, a lot of people have this question that, like, should I skip a question also? Answer all the questions. Okay, do not skip any of the questions. Answer all the questions. Answer the essay based point, the questions and points. A lot of students have this diet also, like paragraph लिखना है क्या लिखना है. Write point number one. Three ways in which this is helpful. Point number one, why. Second, why. Third, why, etc. Similarly, 3 points against, one, two, three. Then third question that related to the topic, 3 points, right in terms of points. Answers are auto saved. A lot of questions, a lot of students have this query that if they do not attempt the question, what happens? Like they have partially attempted the question, does it vanish? No, it is auto saved in the system. Okay, so like keep saving the answers that you type, and in the end, if the time finishes, the answer will get auto saved into the system. So not to worry about that. Now, in the picture perception test, you need to write the order also. So you need to write the four images in what order uh, are you using those images in the essay that you are typing. Right. So this is how one needs to attempt the descriptive test. It is all about creativity, right? No one can teach you creativity. It is something which is innate. How creative you are at story writing, that is what matters. Essay topic could be abstract topics, could be simple uh, generic topics. So it's about like how well you are, how well aware you are, how what points you can think of. So that is the differentiating factor. Now this is evaluated only if you clear uh, uh, the cutoffs, right? If you clear the psychometric test, you clear the aptitude cutoffs, then only this is evaluated at a later stage. Okay. Now coming to the aptitude test, that's the game wherein it is very intense because you have 70 questions, 80 minutes, and that too CATs at level questions, even beyond that, because some of the questions have eight options, especially in verbal ability. If there are eight options, you are gone. Okay. Try to attempt GK within 5 minutes. Okay. Now I'm giving you a time limit. So you are left with 75 minutes. Divergent and convergent thinking, I would say that give it 30 minutes. Quant and VRC give 20-25 based on your strength. Like if your QA is strong, then you get 25 minutes. And if your verbal is weak, I mean, strength and weakness. So weak section give 20 minutes. On the other side, if your QA is weak, give 20 minutes, 25 minutes, so that you can maximize your attempts in these sections. Divergent and convergent thinking, it has a lot of questions on alphanumeric series, coding, decoding, other letter based questions. So know the order of letters, right? A is 1, B is 2, because a lot of questions will be around that, and that's a good logical thinking, right? So if you are well versed with those questions, you can definitely pick 5 6 questions. So divergent convergent thinking, I would say that 5 to 6 questions can easily be picked, right? This is the lower number that I'm talking about. It can go beyond that as well. 5 to 6 questions from these. There are some picture perception tests. There is uh, word association tests. There are questions on blood relations, other things as well, which you can attempt, possibly attempt and maximize the score. So 5 6 are from these. So that is the bare minimum that you should target in this section. Now GK, like some people say that like we have not prepared, that's your fault, right? If you're targeting these examinations, you are expected to know things, right? Some people say that like if I get zero in a particular section, why are you targeting zero? At least like if you're targeting a college, a top college, may not call it completely tier one, maybe upper tier one college, right? Or upper tier two college, less than the top tier colleges. If you're targeting those colleges, definitely you should have some aptitude, right? At least in quant, you must be knowing some topics, right? If not, then it is going to be a big trouble for you. So at least try to attempt some questions. Give some time. I don't think that if you are, let's say, a serious aspirant and within 20 to 25 minutes, you cannot attempt 2 to 3 questions. At least 2 to 3 questions per section you should be able to attempt easily, right? So try to maximize this, because this is the section which I have figured out that you can maximize your score on in the past few instances. Then if you are good with calculations, attempt at VI. So there will be, I think, 4 or 5 question DI set, and that is calculation heavy, right? So calculation heavy DI aata hai because let's say you do not have to have external knowledge. You just have to use that graph to calculate the things. So if you are good with calculations, I would suggest that please go ahead and attempt the DI set. That will be an advantage to you. Or else pick 2 to 3 doable questions and quant. Believe me, like if you just go through the questions, you will find 2 to 3 doable questions in the quant section. It could be from arithmetic, algebra, geometry, anything. If you have covered all topics, there will be some doable. I'm not saying that all questions are doable. Definitely all are not doable. Most of the questions are not doable because they are quite lengthy, calculation intensive, etc. But there will be some questions, or if you are comfortable with some of the topics, go ahead and attempt those questions. And that's why I told you that give 20 to 25 minutes to these sections, so that you will be able to attempt at least 3 4 questions comfortably. Then in the VRC section, preferably avoid RCs, right? If strong at verbal ability, then go ahead with verbal ability, because you have already read so much into the paper. You must be reading a lot in the psychometric test. So reading बहुत हो जाएगी. You can avoid the VRC, the RC part. You can instead focus on, I would say that uh, fill in the blanks, right? This time there were idiom based questions. So if you attempted the first one, there were idiom based fill in the blanks, which we had in our mocks also. So if you have attempted our mocks, you must have seen those kind of questions. There are questions which have 8 options, right? So VRC is can be quite tricky because you have 8 options per question. So that makes a very tricky section. So like strategically attempt the paper. Like a question you see, if you feel it looks too difficult, avoid the question, move on to the next question. So it is about handful picking of questions. Okay, you have 80 minutes, 70 questions, GK 5 minutes में खत्म कर देनी है. Give some time to 3 different sections, pick selectively so that you can attempt and score about 20. It is not very difficult to score about 20 if you have good aptitude. If you have done well on these examinations, definitely you will be able to score about 20 quite easily by picking the right set of questions, and try not to score negative, right? So if you are targeting this examination, definitely you must have done some preparation, and that is what the approach should be. So, if you're not a part of our channel, we have Telegram group. We have this PDF on idioms. You can just have a look through it, because there were 3 questions on idiom based fill in the blanks. Could be helpful at the last moment. And current affair quiz, we recently had a few sessions on current affairs. So those PDFs are also available on our Telegram group. So if you're not a part, please do join it. All the best for MyCat 2. I will be appearing on the examination tomorrow and doing the analysis post that. Question discussion, maybe we will have it at night or like day after tomorrow. as I'll be writing another examination in the evening. So, best wishes for the examination. If you watch this video, you've understood that it can be cracked with the right strategy. In psychometric, try to be honest, right? Try to read fast and answer the questions. Don't try to be ideal while answering the questions. Be truthful. Descriptive, attempt all questions, okay, and try to write in points and not to write 300 words. They mention that 300 words, but that's not possible. So try to write 100 to 150 words per question. Coming to the aptitude part, divergent and convergent thinking is the most scoring part. You will realize it why. And of course, I'm expecting that you are aware of those number series concepts. So if you've solved some questions in the past, attempted mock tests, you would be able to crack that. Pick some handful of questions in QA. If good at calculations, go ahead with the DI. That will give you 4 marks. And GK, finish it fast. Verbal ability, pick the right set of questions which you are comfortable with and attempt the paper. So all the best for the examination.